Good morning and welcome to Marketing for Internal Teams and Agencies. My name is John Darbyshire. I'm a co-founder of SmartSuite, and I'll be guiding you through today in about 30 minutes how to use different templates inside of SmartSuite for both internal marketing teams and for marketing agencies. And it will take us about 30 minutes to cover these topics today. So we'll start off today with just an overview of when you first log into SmartSuite. We'll take just a few minutes to make sure that you understand the core concepts, and then we'll dive directly into some of the marketing solutions. So what I'm looking at now is just the home page. So when you log in and you've set up your profile, you will see a page that will include a list of solutions inside of your workspace that you've been granted access to. And I can hover over any one of these solutions and I can click the little star icon that's here and move those up into my favorites panel that you see at the top. So it's quite common that if you have access to quite a number of things that you'll create your own custom panel that's here. SmartSuite as a product allows you to automate any process or project inside of your organization using a single platform. And we consider a process or a project in our hierarchy to be a solution. And our hierarchy starts at the top with solution, goes to apps, views, and records. And I'll go through each of those as we're going through the demo today. Across the top of the page, you'll notice a few things. The first is a member directory. So I can click on the member directory to see a listing of everybody that's on my team inside of the organization. If I want to see more information about a particular person, I can click and it actually brings up their profile, and each individual user has the ability to share information both from a professional and personal level here. So I see Pete, one of our co-founders, is here. He's in the product management team for SmartSuite. His assigned role in this particular workspace is he's an administrator, and then here's some base information about Pete. I can also click here to look at a few different reports on the team. So maybe I wanted to view people by birthday that's on the team that's here. Maybe I wanted to see them by department, maybe by location, by status, by role or type. So I could see everybody in this particular demo is all an employee. The goal of the member directory is just to give you very easy access to members that are on your team. If you want to see a list of notifications that have been sent to you, you just click here, and we'll talk about notifications and how they appear in this panel in a minute. There's a My Work directory that each time that you're assigned work inside of your account, it will automatically show up in your My Work section, and it will be based on things that are overdue, things that are due today, this week, a little later, and then items maybe that don't have a due date. We'll also describe that. And then you have a favorites panel, basically starred items. So any item that you star inside of SmartSuite at any level will show up in your starred items. And this is basically a custom menu for you to quickly find and get to things that are here. I'm going to click over to a different account. This is actually our internal account at SmartSuite on how we use our own product to manage every process in our organization. I'm going to click first on our marketing plans and resources solution that we use internally. So you'll be able to understand exactly how we use it in a way that you might be able to use it internally. That's here. Once I've logged in, you'll see this is the name of the solution. These are different apps. An app is just a collection of field types that collects information for a particular topic, and then you can link apps to each other. So I could say I want to link plans back to brand assets, maybe back to image library or request, or back to contacts. You can have as many of those linked record references as you'd like. On the right here, you'll see a listing of what we call views. So this allows you to see any views that you've set up that relates to the data that you've set up in this particular app. Right now I'm looking at a grid view, but I could very quickly change that to card, Kanban, calendar, timeline, map, chart, or I could even create a dashboard of the information that's here. In this case, I'm just going to drill into one of these records. So we call this row of information, we call it a record. So I'll open up the record. Now I'm just seeing all of the information that's inside of this app, the way that I've configured it with all of the fields of information. If I want to change something, I can just move it around on the form in real time. If I want to edit the data, just click into a field, edit the information. If I wanted to modify a field, like here I'm tracking teams, I could just click here and say modify field settings. It brings up the actual field configuration, shows all of the entries that I have. If I wanted to add a new one, I could just click add new. If I want to edit, I can just click into edit. One of the things that's pretty common in SmartSuite across the field types is that each field type has 3 to 4 different ways that you can display that field, both in a record and in reports. In this case, I've said I'd like to show a color dot with the name of the field, but I could also say I want a solid color for the background. I could even change this where I want to actually select an icon. So we give you a series of icons that you could pick and emojis, and you can pick colors for that. So in this case, maybe I wanted to show an icon here. I'm going to move back to just the single dot so you can see the more common display that's here. And I'm not going to save this change that's here. Inside of a record, there's a number of things that are important just to note at the beginning. The first one is I can have a conversation about any of the content that's in this record by just clicking the icon at the top. And right now it's telling me that there's 2 active conversations that have not been resolved, just examples that I've added. So I could see both the original comment and the reply that's in here. When I add a comment, I have the ability to use rich text field types and insert links and images and things inside of that conversation. I'm also able to expand this window to any size to fit the conversation or the content that's there. The system is also smart enough to know that when I @mention somebody, so maybe I'll @mention Tara in this case, that it will ask you, hey, I see that you're @mentioning this person. Would you actually like to assign this to the person as a task? And if I said yes, it would actually create a task and notify Tara at that time. The other option at the top is view activity history. Activity history allows you to see a listing of every update that's been made to any field in this particular record. Based on your plan type, it goes from 6 months to 3 years as far as the history that you're able to view inside of a record. The next item is if this is a record that you're working on and you want to actually follow, meaning each time that there is an update to this, any content that's in this record, you would be notified in your notification panel. You can just click following and it very easily shows you that you're following the record that's there. So those are some of the basics that's here. We'll go into a little more detail as we drill into things here. But in this particular case on plans, this is just a listing of all the internal marketing plans that we have underway. We're categorizing that by the team that's responsible, whether it's our own internal team, whether it's a contractor that we're working with, or whether it's an outside agency that we're working with. It shows the status of each of the plans with descriptions, owners, goals for the time period that we have in place. We also like to have or provide access to all of our personas that we have as an organization. So these are the people that we're actually marketing our product to. And in the case of if we were marketing to a marketing person, this is the persona that we have for a director of marketing that's here. You can just see the different field types and the way that we're collecting information on the page for the persona, information about just age and loyalty, family, brand traits that they might like, maybe preferred channels that are there. And what you're noticing on this page is that I've grouped this information into sections. So I can have fields that fall into sections. In each section, I can open and close so I can only see the information maybe that's relevant at the time. And I also have the ability when I set a section, notice that these are closed by default at the bottom of the page. So when I have added a section, I could just say I want to collapse it. So it's very common across all of SmartSuite that you have maybe general information that you want to access each time to see very quickly, and then more detail that you don't see, you need to see each time, to put it in a section and maybe collapse those by default so the page won't be quite so messy that's there. If you had a new field of information that you wanted to add, a number of ways you can do that. You can just click right here on an action menu for any field type. I could say add new field, brings up a listing of all the field types that you could use. If you're a more experienced user, you'll just pick a field and start adding the information. If you're just getting started, you can click on explore field types, and we'll show you a listing of each field type that's available in SmartSuite, from some of the basics like text and text areas and selections and dates and numbers, emails, phones, addresses, those types of things, to more collaborative types of fields where you want to have somebody provide a rating, or you want people on your team to vote and keep track of who's voted. Maybe you want to add tags, you want to link to people's social networks, more project specific things where if you're tracking tasks, where you would track assigned to, due dates, durations, the percent that it's complete, maybe an overall status. even time tracking logs where you need to track the time spent on a particular task or item. And then more advanced things like formulas and counts, roll-ups, lookups. We allow signatures on mobile devices, sub items, those types of things. Up here on the top, you can click this filter so I can actually look at the information in different ways. So maybe I want to look by field type and look at all the text fields, more the selection fields, the date fields, the number fields that's there. Or maybe I just want to see a listing in alphabetical order of everything that's there. If I wanted to add a field, let's say I wanted to just add a selection field. I'm just going to say, let's add a single select. It just pulls up the selector. I can give this a name. We auto name each field type for you in case you just want to quickly add the information. If you've selected the wrong field type that's here, maybe I want it to be a multiple select, I can quickly just change that on the fly from this dropdown that's here. And then it's as simple as just adding the entries that you want to put in. And in this case, I can also select colors for each of the items that I'm selecting as well. And then I just click add field. It adds the field right on my page. I can move it around to any location that I want, and I can select and add that value that's there. We're going to go ahead and delete this since this is our internal product that we're using. So people and personas is just a way for us to track all of the people that we're marketing to. So everybody on our team is fully aware of the dynamics associated with the different campaigns here. On the content side, this is where we track and manage all the content that we are creating as an organization. We have a lot of blog content that goes out, but we also have things like bios and videos and podcasts. And you're just seeing who's assigned to what and the current stage of each of those. I can click into a particular item and see the details of that. In this case, that we're actually linking this content back to the podcast plan that's here. So I can see a listing of content by plan type, basically, as well. Add attachments, checklists, those types of things. Brand assets is just a place to track all of the brand assets for the organization, for your logos, images, files, videos, whatever that might be. So here you can just see a listing of these different files. If I wanted to view this a little differently, I could just come over here to the view type and change it to card view and maybe see a card view of the information. Put that back to grid. Our image library. This is just a library of all the images that our designers have created that are used across our website, our product, social media. So if somebody in the organization is just needing to find an image to use it, this is a library that they can just come in and very quickly find what they want. If they want to preview the image that's here, they just click on this icon. It brings it up in a gallery. They can see more information about it. You could open up the side panel to see when it was added, maybe updated that's in here. And you can do things like change the background to light and dark to help you maybe zoom in to understand how you might be using that image that's there. And if you have multiple images, we'll show all the images across the bottom as thumbnails, and you can click across and see all of them. And you can even use enable slideshow if you just want them to pop up one at a time to view them. So again, the image library is just a great way for people in your organization to have access to all the great assets that you've created. Image request is a way that we allow our team to request new images from our designers. You can see everything that's in queue or have been completed from the requests that have been happening. If somebody wants to add a new request, they just say add new record. They fill out the request information that's here. It automatically notifies the design team, and the design team assigns that to a member, works on that. When it is completed, we have a notification that's set up that auto notifies back the person that requested the image. In our case, we also track all of our social media accounts with just core information about those accounts. So if different people need information or want to understand campaigns that we're doing for different accounts, they can click in and see the details here. And then we also track key contacts. So we like to track marketing contacts that we're working with as an organization all in one place, just to make it easy for our team to very quickly follow up, mainly with third parties if certain actions need to be taken. And then we have a list of our internal tools that we use, and with brief descriptions of the tools and how they're used, who has access to them, who the owner is. Just makes it easy if somebody's needing to request information, they can quickly come in here, look for the tools, click on the owner of the tool. And if I click in this particular case on any user that's in SmartSuite, you'll pull up what we call their mini profile. And from here, I could have a conversation with them, view their full profile, or maybe I want to have a phone conversation, send an email, an in-app notification, those types of things. So this is how we use marketing inside of SmartSuite for just an internal team. If you're an agency, it could be a little bit different. That's here. This is an example of more of what a typical agency would have, where they have multiple clients that they've set up. So you can see that I've got information for each client. If I drill in kind of in a form, I've linked back to the open tasks that are underway for these client projects. And maybe the client has open work requests for things that we're proposing on that are here. I'm tracking that. And then in this case, maybe you've got financial information that you're tracking, budget information, and then you're using time tracking log field type to track hours back, and then doing understanding kind of the remaining budget associated with that. So here's just a listing of clients that are here. I've got that grouped by client, and we haven't talked about the toolbar that's across the top here, but any of the fields that are inside of client prospects, I can show in one of these views. I can click in here in the available fields, and I can just pick the fields that I want to have displayed in that particular view. And it's just as easy to remove those fields. If I wanted to move a field around on the page, I could just drag and drop it from inside of this, and it changes what's displayed here. So some companies that we work with have hundreds and hundreds of fields in an app. Others have 5 or 10, but just the same interface of just clicking on the fields to move them over on what you want to display. Each field type that is available in the solution, or in the app, excuse me, you then have the ability to pick a sort, and you could have as many levels of sorting as you would want to have here. So I could continue to come through here and modify how I want things to actually be sorted. You can filter by information. So maybe I wanted to filter by client or by due date, or maybe by project type, where I say the project type is just social media. So now I've filtered the content to show just that. In this case, I've added a grouping, just groups the information based on one of the fields that are available. In this case, I've grouped by client, but any field type that I have in here. So maybe I wanted to just see a listing of projects by the project manager. I'm going to turn off this project type. So now I can see here's all the project managers that I have, and each of the projects that they're managing in the current state of the project that's there. Spotlight allows you just to color code certain cells or rows based on any type of rule set that you added. So you could do that both at the field level and at the record level. A record is just the entire row that's there. And then I have simple things like changing the size of the grid views to match the content that you have. So that's the basics on the reporting. So in this case, I see I have client projects, and I have those projects linked back to production tasks. I have in this case, I have a single production task app. So all the work that's being done in the organization from a task perspective is documented here, different types of tasks. So it's very easy to run any type of reports to see what's happening client by client, overall, maybe by team, maybe by type of work. I could look for tasks that are just overdue. It gives me lots of flexibility in sharing that information. And if I go back into the client records, maybe I'll click under brand strategy, I would see a list of every task that was associated to this client project would be listed. This is just a demo, so there's one. But if there were 100, we would show the first 15, and then we would have a more icon so that you could see every task and the status of every task that's associated with the project that you're working on. Then we have typically marketing agencies like to have work requests. So this is where maybe a client has a new request for work that you need to add a proposal, or maybe you're on a retainer and this is just for next month, but you need to do some planning. And the request is just saying, here's what we need to do. And then typically you go back into your production tasks and projects and set up the tasks that are there, or you use an automation to do that for you automatically. And then the next two are optional. Some organizations have another solution just for a CRM. A lot of agencies, though, to combine those two. So you have your client projects and your CRM in one place. So this is just a listing of every client that you have. You could maybe group this by, let's just say, maybe by industry or size. We'll do it by size first. That's here, but I can create any number of views to look at my clients and then contacts link back to your clients, and you can also link contacts back to your projects so that if you're working on a particular project, you're identifying the key people associated with that project. So those are the basics in about 20 minutes on how we can help organizations manage core processes, whether it's internal or through an agency. I'm going to click here in the upper right to go back to the home page. If you wanted to add a new solution or see the full listing of templates that are available in SmartSuite, you just click on View Templates, and then in this case, this shows a listing of all the different template categories that we have, from core workflows to more industry-specific things to more minor workflows. I'm going to click on Marketing. And here's the full library that's here. And you'll notice a few things in the library. If you have already downloaded this particular solution into your account, we'll tell you that it's been installed already once. That doesn't mean that you can't download it again, but it's just nice to know maybe that's already being used by somebody that you would want to contact. If it's something that's new, that's just been updated in our library, we'll put a little new icon here so you can know that maybe you want to look at the new things. But you can see the different types of solutions, from podcast and blog management on the content side to doing competitor analysis to just content marketing specific things that are there, maybe managing community service events, tracking your customer testimonials, landing pages, all different types of campaigns, press tracking, social media, and such. So these are core processes that our customers have communicated that they need to have available to use in their organization. And we worked with many of our customers or industry experts to actually build these templates. So these are best in class templates. They're not just a few fields that are on a form for you to use. And if you want to learn more about anyone, you can just click Learn More. You can drill into the details with a quick description, but we then show you that particular solution live on the page. And you can click around and see if this is something that you would like. And if it is, you just click Use Template, and in 3 seconds, it brings the template back into your account. That's here. So that in 30 minutes covers how we can help organizations from a marketing perspective. There's a lot more to learn on SmartSuite. If you are interested, we recommend that you go to smartsuite.com, click on the Start Trial. It's free for 14 days. There's no credit card required. We'll extend your trial another 14 days if you need to make a decision and you're not ready to make a decision. If after that period, you're still not sure if SmartSuite is for you, you can switch to our free plan, which is free forever, up to 3 users, with just limited capabilities that's in there. It's really meant for you to continue to try and use the product until you can demonstrate if we can provide value back to your organization. And with that, I would like to say thank you for your time today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. If you're in the product, the easiest way to reach out is to click on this icon in the bottom of the page and just start a conversation with us. We usually get back to you. You can see and hear this tracks our time in under 20 minutes. We try to get back to you within minutes if we can. And if you have questions about help, you just click right here. You can browse our full help library in line as you're in the product. So if you had questions, in this case, maybe on sharing information via grid, we'll take you through and show you the help in line to the product. All right, I appreciate your time and have a great day. Thank you.